It's time for Real Estate 101 with the Karey Brown team from Realty Executives Preferred Advisors.
Good Sunday morning to you. This is Karey Brown, broker owner, Realty Executives Preferred Advisors, and you're listening to Real Estate 101. Today I am here with Ashley Charest, and she is the Vice President of Resource and Development at the Chamber of Topeka. So let's talk about the Chamber. You guys, there's so much going on. There are so many different break-offs from what you guys do. Let's just kind of hit all of them and explain what they do so that people can get involved if they choose to. So tell us about the Chamber and all the things that they do for the community.
Great. Well, the Chamber, quite frankly, most people think of the Chamber of Commerce as an entity, a governmental entity, and that's not the case. Think of it more as an association for local business owners. So people that either have a small, medium, or large size sole proprietorship business in Topeka. The Chamber is a club for them to join that allows them to network with their peers, allows them to, of course, do business with each other, learn more about what might be coming up in terms of business regulations or just things they'll need to know about. You know, the overtime law was a perfect example. When that was coming towards us at the end of the last year, we had a lot of conversation with our members about what could that mean for them, as well as just giving them all the opportunities to get together, whether that's formal events that we set up or simple events like a caffeine connection where they can stop by for a cup of coffee and just talk with a few people and meet some new faces.
Absolutely. I know whenever we opened, I had joined the Chamber and we had the red coats come in and they did the grand opening, and that was really cool. And it's a great way, if you haven't done it, to get your business out there. So if you haven't done it, be sure and call the Chamber. By the way, how do they get a hold of the Chamber?
So they can call us at 234-2644, or they can also get online, topekachamber.org. We're on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and all those great social media places as well. So any way they want to reach out to us, we'll be able to get right back with them.
Okay, so now let's talk about Heartland Visioning. What is that?
So Heartland Visioning, long story short, it's a quality of life organization. Heartland Visioning was founded in 2008 when individuals within our community came together and were trying to decide what did they want their Topeka to be. There were tons of ideas thrown around, and Heartland Visioning was formed based on the knowledge that we would need an organization to kind of house and shelter and shepherd those projects along. So Heartland Visioning was created. The Noto Arts District might be the most recognizable project that they have helped to champion through. Not to say that they led that project, but the idea came out of that networking and communications event, and then Heartland Visioning kind of helped move that forward with, of course, other individuals in the community strongly spearheading it.
So it sounds like Go Topeka may have been spun from there.
So Go Topeka is our economic development organization. So when people are thinking about typically new businesses coming in, they would need to think about Go Topeka from that standpoint. That stands for Growth Organization of Topeka, is Go Topeka. But in addition to new businesses, we spend a lot of time with our existing businesses here in town. You know, it's great to bring in a new business and have hundreds of jobs and lots of money being brought into the community from an outside organization. But when you think about the companies that were created and have grown here in Topeka, you see a lot of jobs and a lot of investment in our community. So we also take care of the existing businesses that are here and help them in any way that we can to grow, whether that's just helping them through the regulation process or permitting or getting questions answered from officials, up through even incentives. And that's something that Go Topeka works with JADO, the Joint Economic Development Organization, and there are incentives and grants and different things that businesses can apply for or receive to help them grow their business and also help grow Topeka. So Go Topeka, think about both new and existing businesses getting bigger and better for us.
And with like Heartland Visioning and Go Topeka, if someone were to want to be involved in that, how would they reach out to get that done? Would they call the Chamber?
Absolutely. We're all at the same location, so we're physically housed together. So that 234-2644 number is fine. Go Topeka, their website is gotopeka.com, and Heartland Visioning is heartlandvisioning.org. They also all have Facebook pages and other social media avenues, so you can reach out to them as well. In terms of getting involved for Heartland Visioning, they have monthly steering committee meetings where they come together and they have speakers talking about things or projects that are going on here in Topeka. And also they have different groups, subcommittees or task groups, for a lack of a better word. They get together to talk about topical issues, whether that's dynamic core or transportation or entertainment or community pride. Those are different core groups that Heartland Visioning has volunteers that work on actively to help influence.
And you also have for younger individuals that I just aged myself out of, Forge.
Yep. So Forge is our young professionals organization. It used to be known as Fast Forward, but about a year and a half ago it rebranded. And Forge is for those newly graduated into their 30s. There's no age limit for Forge, but I can tell you, I feel aged out when I see them sometimes. They are a fun group, but also very committed to Topeka. They have a service arm or pillar of their organization where they do try to get out and volunteer with Harvesters or Let's Help or Capper Foundation, multitudes of organizations that they volunteer for. They also are putting an emphasis on political and not politics as we might think of it, but more getting involved in the process and making sure that your voice is heard. So they're very heavy into voter registration, making sure that young professionals are registered to vote. And then once they are registered to vote, actually getting out to vote. We do have mayor and city council elections coming up very shortly, and that is something that Forge wants the young professionals to become more involved in.
So let's talk about the events that you have going on in all these different entities, because I can imagine that would be one crazy calendar.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And you can find all of our calendar information on all of our various websites. But just to give you an example, I told you about Heartland Visioning with their steering committee. They have other events as well, but again, more topical. And so it's not going to be a standard we meet on this day at this time. Go Topeka has investor meetings, as well as they work with, again, JADO. So JADO has quarterly meetings that Go Topeka participates in. Forge has not only their service events, but they also host a pub club every month. It's always on the third Wednesday, and it does move around locations. So you can go to Forge's website. That's topekaforge.org, and you can check out their full calendar there. Go Topeka also does host educational events, whether that's sessions on HR or marketing or even one on sales tax we have coming up. There's a lot of different educational opportunities that Go Topeka has. And then the Chamber has more of the standard every month at this time type of events. So you always know that we're going to have different networking events during a month at any given point in time. So we have caffeine connections that are much more casual. Come in, grab a cup of coffee, network with some peers, and leave. We have Business After Hours, which is our largest monthly event. About 100 to 150 people show up and have some snacks and beverages and just talk and network and move different locations, along with lunch connects and then our large meetings, our annual meetings and our investor briefings and our State of the Community events. All of those events are on top of what we have every single month.
So if you, for some reason, do not think you have support in this community, you might want to check those out because you have all kinds of options.
So the Chamber has also started a small business council. The idea started about 18 months ago, but the council itself was officially formed at the very end of this last year. But before I go into detail a lot about that council, let me back up by saying when you start a small business here in Topeka, and in the surrounding areas, I would highly recommend that you contact the Washburn University Small Business Development Center. They're actually housed right next to us, not in our office, but right next door, and they are a wealth of information in regards to business plans and marketing plans and funding for your small business. They're a wealth of resource. In addition to the individuals that work at the center, they also have SCORE. I don't remember the acronym off the top of my head, but basically it's a mentoring organization. People that have been in business or been in government or in leadership roles here in our community, they volunteer their time to help these small businesses with any questions they might have. They might think that they're dumb questions, but as a small business owner that's starting out and you have no idea, isn't it the best to learn from someone that's actually been through the process and understands the ups and downs that you'll go through as a small business owner? So I'd recommend going to the center, and certainly they would get you plugged into SCORE to get some mentoring help. But now going back to our Small Business Council, again, it just formed, so they are in their process of kind of developing who they're going to be. So the Small Business Council wants to represent the voice of small businesses here in Topeka. Not necessarily individuals that are brand new startups, although we know those are typically small businesses, but more businesses that are established and kind of looking to move forward, take their business to the next level or maintain it where it is if that's what they choose to do. Our Small Business Council has 5 committees that any small business member of the chamber can be a part of. In fact, we'd love and welcome that. We do have a marketing committee, and that committee is responsible for marketing all of the great things that the Small Business Council has and will be doing. We also have a programs committee, which think of that as an education committee. So they're going to be planning, tax presentations or presentations on, the chip reader. Do you need one? And what does that mean to your business? We also, when you think of programming, you also think of fun stuff too, right? So we have a social activities group that is working to not only plan events for small businesses, but also integrate small businesses into some of the events that the chamber already has. As an example, the business after hours that we talked about earlier, we are seeing more small business owners come to that because they know that there are going to be other small businesses there. And we actually have people that meet them at the door and start introducing them to people. I think that's always the scary first step when you go into something new is if you don't know anyone in the room, it's always hard to make that first step, right? So our Small Business Council wants to make that easier for them. So they're at the front door ready to grab you by the hand and take you around and start introducing you to people that you should and will want to know in the community. We also have a membership committee, although that sounds like membership in terms of bringing you into the chamber, which we would love, by the way. It's really more focused on getting the word out. What does the chamber do, like we talked about, and then more integrating what do our members need? Do they need discounts on certain programs, or do they need access to mentoring? Whatever they need, we want to have the membership committee provide what our members need through the Small Business Council. We also have a legislative committee. So being in the capital city, we all know that most people immediately think of what's going on at the state, but also, of course, certainly city and county plays a role here as well. And so our legislative committee is looking at legislation with a small business eye. So again, going back to that overtime law as an example, that would hit small businesses. And what impact would that be for them? It would be very different than what a large business impact would have. So those are the committees that the Small Business Council has, and we would certainly welcome anyone to check out what's going on there. Let us know if you're interested in participating in any of those committees. And again, you can find information about the Small Business Council on the Topeka Chamber website, topekachamber.org.
Let's talk about all the really great events that you've got, because I know we kind of just barely hit the surface on that. Evel Knievel Museum?
Yes. So while I don't work for Visit Topeka, we are a partner with them. And so Visit Topeka has been working on the promotion of this museum before we even really knew it existed. Mike Patterson with the historic Harley-Davidson of Topeka, he and his team have put together an amazing museum. There is only one Evel Knievel museum, and it's here in Topeka. I mean, that's just phenomenal to me. Now, Michael, hate me saying this. I've never ridden a motorcycle. I don't remember ever seeing Evel Knievel jump. But man, going through that museum was amazing. I mean, they have his actual truck there, like Evel Knievel's actual truck that drove around his motorcycles. They have his motorcycles there. They have the outfits by the motorcycles and information on the wall about the jumps that he did. They also have, this is sad, scary, cool all at the same time, but they have this wall that talks about his successes and his failures in terms of the jumps. And he's had a lot of successes, but man, those failures sure jump out at you. In addition to just going around and looking at the museum, seeing the cool wall that has all the Evel Knievel kid stuff, the lunch boxes and the board games and all that were branded under his name. When we had Visit Topeka had a motorcycle jumper. Do you guys remember last August they jumped towards the Capitol? Well, they actually filmed that, and you can go into the Evel Knievel Museum. You can sit on a motorcycle. You put on these little visor helmet thing, and you feel like you are jumping over these vehicles towards the Capitol. And if you're a little squeamish, it could make you a little dizzy. So it's very cool, but very lifelike as well. So yeah, that's such an amazing thing that has come here. It's soft opened right now. We did a ribbon cutting just a couple of weeks ago, and so people can go now and tour the museum. Their official grand opening isn't until later this month, but I think anyone that has even a small interest in taking a look at the history of what went on there in terms of the daredeviling, I think you'd be hurting yourself if you didn't go and at least check it out. But in addition to that, Visit Topeka also has 2 more events that are upcoming in the near term. The first one is Tap That Topeka. This has been going on for several years, so it's beer tasting, brewery tastings, and with the increase in microbreweries that we've had here in Topeka, I think it's going to be even more exciting this year. Forge, our young professionals, is actually going to have a tent for young professionals to be at Tap That Topeka as well, but it's just an all-day fun event that people can go down, sample different beers. There's going to be, of course, food there to offset that. That's June 24th, and again, in that downtown, by the Capitol, between 9th and 7th, right there along Kansas Avenue. So I would encourage people to go check that out. And then Cyclovia, it's its second annual, but it's broken up a little bit this year. So it goes to different neighborhoods, but Cyclovia is all about biking. We've had bike trails that have been extended around Topeka. We've also had roads that have been made bike-friendly. And so Cyclovia is a kind of an honoring of that mode of transportation here in town, in addition to the bike shares that Topeka Metro brought on a couple years ago. It's just a good natural fit for our community. So people that enjoy biking and getting out there with nature, I think would love to attend that event as well.
You had mentioned something about the Capitol is now open on Saturdays.
That's right. So we have this beautiful Capitol. And, we truly have one of the most beautiful Capitols in the entire United States. And we went through a huge renovation for, it was more than 10 years. And it was only open Monday through Friday, which is, if you're working full-time, you can't go see it, or you have to take a day off. And great for school kids when they're in school, but not so much when the normal person might want to go see it on the weekend. So starting now, the Capitol is going to be open for tours on Saturdays. So you just go up to the Capitol, get in line, and they'll have an individual that'll be able to tour you. I don't know if you can go all the way to the top of the dome during those tours, the Saturday tours, but I do know you'll be able to get in the Capitol and be shown around and have people tell you about all the different things that are there.
I'm good with not going to the top. I'm just fine with taking the pictures from below.
Oh, let me tell you, I went to the top, and I'm not. That's a lot of twirly stairs. Just to let you know, it is a big deal. And if you're afraid of heights, it's not something I would recommend. But man, the view is gorgeous.
Definitely afraid of heights. Not a chance. Not going to happen. But definitely, I would love to see the pictures.
Absolutely.
Tell me about Downtown Topeka.
Well, it's another organization that we are closely partnered with, and they have a lot of great standard events that are set up throughout a given month, but then also some special events. So, for instance, they participate heavily in First Friday. So, thank goodness Arts Connect came up with First Fridays, and now we have tons of art walks and all that great stuff here in Topeka. And, of course, downtown is heavily involved in that. So, I would highly recommend anybody go First Friday, go down to downtown Tenodo and get involved in that. In addition, they put on Movie on the Lawn. So actually on the lawn of the Capitol, they have an enormous movie screen, and they have different movies every time that get played. It's such a fun time to bring blankets. Don't bring your chairs on the grass. You can only have those on the concrete. I learned that the hard way. But they do have different movies up until it gets cold. So, September, October time frame. But it's just a fun event. They do have, a little bit of food, a couple food vendors out there. So if you want to grab something, if not, you can brown bag it and, bring it in with your kids and just have a good couple hours of being together and looking at that gorgeous Capitol. In addition, Westar Energy, when they put in their Pocket Park, they created it so there could be small concerts and little things around that area. And so every Wednesday they have the noontime brown bag concert series that's put on. So each Wednesday there's a different person down there playing. Not necessarily a band, but maybe an individual on a guitar, or maybe a couple people playing cello, whatever it is. It always changes. So I would just encourage people to go grab their lunch and head on down there on a Wednesday to check out what's going on. But they do have a couple of events coming up over the summer that are kind of some big stationary events in downtown. And the first one is called Freedom Festival. It's in conjunction with Rotary here in Topeka. And the Freedom Festival just celebrates, of course, our heritage and gets us ready, quite frankly, for the 4th of July celebration. So that's a big event that'll be coming up on July 1st, again in downtown. And then also Touch a Truck. So I don't have young boys, but I do know that Touch a Truck has been a huge, huge thing for parents and kids coming downtown. So they bring in these enormous cranes and dump trucks and fire trucks and all this stuff that, boys, but certainly just kids of all ages and kids in general love to get in and climb around in and just see and play with. So that's a fun event downtown that they also help put on. So lots of good stuff going on in downtown, short and long term.
Absolutely. So real quick, let's talk again about how they can find all of this stuff. And again, I would like to just say, if you should say that there's nothing to do in Topeka, you're not looking in the right places. So where else should they be looking?
All right. So, well, first of all, the easiest thing you can do is certainly look online. So, again, our websites, we've got topekachamber.org, gotopeka.com, heartlandvisioning.org, topecaforge.org, visittopeka.com, and downtowntopekainc.com. We all have calendars that also we link up to topeka365.com, which is a community calendar. But certainly call our offices to get additional information. Get on Facebook and like all of those organizations because we regularly post and cross-post events and things that are going on. So I think those would be the easiest ways to reach out and find out what's going on here in town.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, Ashley, for coming on.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us.
Southwest Topeka has a good neighbor. State Farm agent Jim Garrison, now at 29th and Urish. If your current insurance situation has you going around in circles, get off the roundabout and stop in and meet Jim and his wonderfully efficient staff. Let Jim Garrison give you a quote and make the Garrison comparison. He's confident that with State Farm's competitive rates, the right coverage, and his unmatched service, you'll want to make him your new insurance agent. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and Jim Garrison is there for you, northeast of the roundabout at 29th and Urish.
Now I have the president of the Topeka Catbackers, Tim Coling. So, Tim, tell us all about Catbackers.
Well, Catbackers is a club that supports the best university in the entire world, Kansas State University. I'm getting some dirty looks across the room. So we have been around since 1982. We were the Kaw Valley Catbackers for a while and turned to the Topeka area Catbackers probably about 2011, I believe. But we have always had a big banquet every year. And basically what we would do is we would set it up and get it ready to go and then ask K-State to bring over some coaches and players to be part of the program. And it was always, they were always really good about it and gracious in getting them over here, but it was always, whoever was available. So Kansas State came to us in January at our Catbackers meeting and said, we want to do a different format. So what they did is they are doing more of a festival type format, to where instead of a plated meal banquet, we will have a festival type atmosphere out at Scaba baseball fields at the corner of 29th and Croco on Thursday night, June 8th. So free to the public. We're going to have food trucks. We're going to have all kinds of events going on. K-State will actually, they have a really cool bus that they wrapped with pictures of the players on it, pictures of the stadium on it. It's really cool to see. But they show up with a bus full of coaches. Coach Schneider will be there. Coach Weber will be there. The associate head coach for the women's basketball team will be there. Assistant coach for the soccer team will be there. And Wyatt Thompson will be the MC of the event. So it'll be a good time. They have inflatable games, football, basketball, I believe there's baseball. And then they have some interactive activities like trying on jerseys. But that will all be with student athletes doing that with kids. And every kid that comes that evening will get a free T-shirt. But we'll have doors open at 5:30 out there. The entire complex is ours. No games going on that night, so you don't have to worry about parking. So at 5:30, everything starts. And then at 6:45, we will have the program with the coaches speaking and players speaking and that type of thing. So great evening to come out and relax, hang out. We have a big silent auction, and then we have a big live auction as part of the program.
And if you would like to get involved, how do they get a hold of you?
They can go to TopekaAreaCatbackers.com, or my email is tkolling@TopekaAreaCatbackers.com.
Thank you very much, Tim, for joining us. I would also like to mention that Tim is a listing agent for the Realty Executives Preferred Advisors team. So if you want to sell your house or buy a house.
I have several wonderful homes for sale right now.
He does.
Yes.
And we need to get them sold, so be sure and check them out at Topeka Area Home Advisors. TopekaHomeAdvisors.com.
That's us.
And if you're looking to sell and you want to give us a call, it's 785-213-5188. And you're welcome to email us at preferredadvisorsteam@gmail.com. Thanks for joining us on Real Estate 101.
Thank you for listening to Real Estate 101 with the Karey Brown team from Realty Executives Preferred Advisors. Tune in again next Sunday at 11 o'clock for Real Estate 101.